What's up, everybody? So today we're going to be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 5. So if you keep up with any kind of behind the scenes, the director for Falcon and Winter Soldier has been teasing this episode to be the best episode they've done yet. And it did not fail, I could say that. He promised a cameo, he promised a couple tears, and they both delivered. So let's jump into Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5 and talk about it. So it starts off with John Walker having PTSD, obviously from the last episode when he brutally murders one of the Flag Smashers. You can see him kind of just going crazy like he was in the last episode, but now he's just having PTSD. Goes into a warehouse, as we see from the trailers, and just goes to his knees. Right after that, we see Sam and Bucky come in, try to talk him out of it, say, we know you made a mistake. Maybe if you explain the mistake and what happened, they may forgive you. Then it seems that Walker is going to actually go with them until Sam says, just give me the shield. That's when the whole tone of it starts to shift, and Walker says, oh, that's what this is about. Falcon tries to explain to him that he just made a mistake, and then Walker says, you don't want to do this, while Bucky then says, we do. And they go into a whole big fight that was really cool to see. You see Falcon and Bucky teaming up against Walker, and Walker honestly held his own against them, obviously with the help of the super soldier serum, but he was holding his own. So the whole fight's going on for a couple of minutes. We see him and Bucky just go toe to toe. He ends up electrocuting Bucky's metal arm, which I thought was very interesting because I didn't know that happens. Then as he's fighting Sam, he gets on top of Sam and then says to Sam in a very crazed look in his eye, says that he is Captain America and breaks the wings off of Sam's back, and then goes to take the shield to do the exact same thing he did in episode 4, and then Bucky pushes him off and kind of saves Falcon. They both end up ripping the shield off of Walker's hands, but Walker is not done yet, where he still goes to fight them, and they all end up colliding after a couple more fists are thrown. All of them are on the floor. Walker seems to be a little knocked out. Bucky is the first one to stand up, walks over to the shield, looks at it for a second, and then throws it on the floor in almost a disgusted look while he throws it to Sam. What I took from it was the look was just saying, here's the shield, don't give it up again. But you can see that he was annoyed that this all happened in the first place and has a little bit of resentment because of it. Bucky just walks out after that. Then you see Sam just look at the shield with the blood on it, tries to wipe off the blood, and there's just a kind of quiet moment with him and the shield, kind of that he gets it back, but at what cost? Then we see Sam talking to Torres, who in the comics, once Falcon takes over the role of Captain America, Torres then takes up the role of Falcon. So you can kind of see that kind of reflecting here, where he's looking at the wings now. He's looking at the broken wings from Falcon's suit, and then they're talking about what happens next to Walker. Pretty much it's not looking good for Walker. Sam ends up taking the shield this time and then leaving the wings behind with Torres, or New Falcon. We cut now to Walker and the council talking about what will happen next to Walker after the incident. They end up stripping him of his title of Captain America. They want the shield back from him, and he's just getting so angry about this, trying to talk to them and trying to tell them the reasoning, and they're saying that they already know the reasoning and they don't want to hear it. You can see how mad Walker is getting from this. He gets so mad to a point where he just turns around and walks out of the courtroom, and then he's sitting with his girlfriend just talking about it. And then the cameo comes of Valentina Allegra, who's in the comic books, and I think she plays a ton of different roles. She's kind of Nick Fury's ex-girlfriend. She was Madam Hydra for a little bit, but I think she's also a therapist. But basically she starts telling Walker she knows that he took the serum, basically saying it was a great idea for him to take the serum, and that she's basically on his side, and says that was the second best decision he's ever made, the first being that he picks up the phone when she calls, and then she just leaves and gives him a card with nothing on it. Obviously that's setting up for something big, maybe a Thunderbolts team up, but that was the cameo that the director was promising. Then we get to Carly in the episode, which we don't really see much of the Flag Smashers this episode, but they go back to the refugee place that they were at, and they notice that the place has been evicted. There's things all over the floor, and she is pissed, saying that it's time to revolt and they can't get away with this. And that's one of the two scenes we actually see her in this episode. Not much happens with her this episode, but it's setting up for episode 6. We then see Zemo in Russia looking at the statue when Bucky comes behind him with a pistol. They have a little bit of dialect between each other. Bucky puts up the pistol to his head, pulls the trigger, and then we see that there was no bullets in the gun and it wasn't loaded. Going to the shot that we saw in the trailer of him dropping bullets in kind of slow motion, and then the Dormilaje come behind him and then want to take him to Wakanda. Zemo makes one more comment to Bucky, saying he took the liberty of crossing his name off of Bucky's book, and then walks off with the Dormilaje, and Bucky asks the Dormilaje for one more favor that we will see later on in the episode. Sam then visits Isaiah Bradley. We have this really emotional conversation between the two about the shield, what Isaiah went went through, which was really powerful to see. He basically tells him what that shield means to him and what happened to him. Sam wants him to tell his story now, but Isaiah does not want to. He just wants to stay dead, as he said. Sam ends up leaving after a very emotional conversation, which what I think was the tearjerker the director was telling everybody about. But Sam goes home to fix the boat. They talk about how their parents kind of helped everybody, and now it's time to call in that favor, so the entire neighborhood just comes to help fix the boat. Bucky comes with a mysterious box from Wakanda that we don't know what is in it, and we actually still don't know. Says, just sign for it and I'll leave. When a pipe suddenly burst on the boat, Sam goes to try to fix it. When Bucky walks over, helps him out, doesn't use the robotic arm, which Sam asks how come, and he goes, well, I'm right-handed, which I thought was very funny. We kind of see a little flirty vibe between Bucky and Sam's sister, which Sam actually points out later on not to flirt with her. Then we get a quick little boat montage of them fixing up the boat, Bucky and Sam and the entire neighborhood. After that's all done, Bucky and Sam are hanging out, where Bucky tells Sam that he has to go now. He has an early flight. Sam says just stay the night, which Bucky then agrees. We cut to Walker going to Lamar's family to tell them what happened and basically lying to them, saying that he killed the guy who did it to their son. Obviously, we know that Carly did it to Lamar, and he ended up killing just one of the Flag Smashers that he thinks did it. You could tell that he knows that he's lying, because then she's saying how good it is to know that that person that hurt their son is not alive. And we kind of get a really emotional scene with Walker where they're telling Walker how Lamar was so proud of him that he became Captain America, and it was honestly a very kind of sad scene for him. Then there's a very small scene with Carter, only time in this episode, where she's on the phone with somebody and she just tells them that she has a deal worth double and they will not regret saying yes to the deal. And that's all we see of Carter this episode. We cut to Sam and Bucky practicing with the shield, which is what we saw in the original trailer, and we kind of get into a little dialect between them where Bucky explains that the shield was family to him. Sam then says how Steve is gone, so I wonder if Steve is gone as in just Steve is dead, Steve is on the moon with Nick Fury, what it really means. I'm pretty sure it means that he passed away. That's what we saw at the beginning of the show when they kind of had the retiring of the shield. Falcon asks Bucky if he still has those nightmares, and then asks if he wants tough love. Tells Bucky that instead of just saying sorry to the people that he's wronged, he actually has to go and help them get some closure, and to just start with one and go one at a time, and it will work. We see them both throwing back the shield off the trees, both of them looking great with the shield, and we see a little bit of the brotherhood between them showing, but neither of them, want to admit it. They both joke that they're partners and co-workers. They're both guys with a mutual friend, but the mutual friend is now gone, so they're just both guys. They don't want to admit it. We all know that there's a lot of chemistry between them, and this isn't the last we've seen of them together. Sam tells his sister that despite what Isaiah said, he will accept the shield and keep fighting, and we get another little montage of him practicing with the shield, and we see him progressively getting better with the shield as the montage goes on. In the beginning, he keeps messing up with the shield, not being able to catch it. He's working out in between everything. He ends up doing crazy ass flips, catches the shield, kind of showing that he has what it takes to yield the shield. Did you like that rhyme? Pretty much masters the shield. Then we cut to Carly for her second scene of the entire episode, where she recruits the mercenary Batroc, I think you pronounce it. He was seen in the Winter Soldier when he fights Captain America in the beginning of the movie, and he was seen in the first episode when he fights Falcon. One of the Flag Smashers says, we're with criminals now, and Carly kind of has this crazed look on her face and say, didn't you already hear? We're already criminals. Kind of showing that she's going further down this really bad path. The mercenary then explains he just wants Sam. She says he'll get his chance, and she wants to revolt and have this revolution. Says it's time to revolt. Sends out some weird text, like some group chat, I guess, that they have, or some app, and tons of people just start working towards her in a very weird way. And she explains that they're going to make sure the GRC vote does not happen, which is setting up for episode 6. We cut to the GRC vote, where all the machines start shutting down, all the lights start flickering, there's red lights that go off everywhere. Obviously, this wasn't supposed to happen, kind of setting up that the Flag Smashers are there and they're hacking into it. Then we cut to the final scene of the episode, where Sam looks at that Wakanda case that Bucky brought to him earlier in the episode, where the camera goes behind the case. Sam opens the case with a big smile on his face. We don't get to see what's in it, and the episode ends. I'm pretty sure that what's in the case, in my opinion, and what I think is going to be, is kind of a hybrid between a Falcon and Captain America suit, where basically it's showing that he is taking on this Captain America role, and we will see the new suit in the next episode, which I'm very excited to see. And the episode ends ends, like I said, but if you stick around a little longer, you'll see an after credit scene with John Walker, pretty much kind of reflecting Iron Man building his suit, but he's building a new shield, spray painting his shield, kind of customizing a little bit with his like medallions, and then the episode officially ends there. So a lot of things happened this episode. This episode was by far one of my favorites. Between this and episode 4, they're both up there. But you guys let me know down in the comments what you thought of this episode and what you think is going to happen in episode 6. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I will see everybody on the next breakdown. Peace.